for joining us for this COVID-19 briefing and other city announcements for Friday, June 5th. Today we will be going over our regular test numbers. We will be talking about some statistics from the C.E. Roy Community Center, that testing site, as well as another testing opportunity tomorrow. We'll be talking about blood drives and a reminder about our Hattiesburg Zoo, as well as some weather preparations as we go into the weekend, and of course our regular active courage. Today's testing numbers, these are system-wide numbers for Forest General, Hattiesburg Clinic, Merit Health Wesley, and Simrai. As of this morning, we hit the 15,000 mark in terms of total tests conducted for COVID-19. Our city and healthcare community has really been a leader in testing throughout the state of Mississippi. Of those 15,000 tests, 1,422 have come back positive. Of course, those are not all in Forest and Lamar counties. 12,766 have come back negative, and right now we have 729 tests that are pending. That number should go down as fewer tests come in, but more tests are processed throughout the weekend. As of today, we have 34 patients in the hospital who are positive for COVID-19. We'll tell you why that's significant, but almost 5 under the 14-day average over the last 2 weeks. In the ICU right now, we have 14 people between Merit Health Wesley and Forest General Hospital. That is also under the average for the past 2 weeks. The significant thing about today is we have not been under 35 hospitalizations since about the first week of May, so almost a month now. We have been 35 or over. Today we dipped down to 34, and we don't know if that trend will pick back up next week or even tomorrow, but it's still a welcome sign. ICU admissions continue to stay under 15. That's also a welcome sign. In terms of total cases, Forest General added 5 new positive cases today to go to 600, hit the 600 mark. Lamar County added 2 to go to 252, and that brings the total since the middle of March for the entire metro area to 852. Our 5-day average continues to fall with 3 or 4 days of single digit of new positive cases. We always like to see that. That's a good indicator of where our trends are. Inside 14 days, again, these are folks who have tested positive in the last 2 weeks. Typically, because this cycle of this illness is 2 weeks or less, that inside 14-day mark is typically a rough estimate of how many active cases you could know about in your community. That number is at 138 for Forest County. Once we factor in the 39 deaths we've had in Forest County, that means that leaves 423 who tested positive outside of that 14-day period, which typically is a rough estimate on the number of folks who have survived or recovered from the coronavirus. In Lamar County, that inside 14-day number is 37 in terms of potentially the active cases in Lamar County, which means 210, after factoring in the 5 deaths, have tested positive outside of that 14-day window. This is a snapshot of each day and how many had tested positive inside that 14-day window for the last 2 months. Of course, around May 18th, we peaked in Forest County and Lamar County, and we've continued to see a decline for the most part. And so if Forest County can stay under that 150 mark, and if Lamar County can stay under the 50 mark, that's good for us going into the summer months. Even with that, though, we have to go back and review what we want to do with our COVID response. We want to protect vulnerable populations, because those folks who are over 60, who have underlying health conditions like diabetes or obesity, they can tend to have more adverse reactions, which could land them in the hospital or in the ICU or worse. We also want to prevent overrun of the healthcare system by slowing the spread. Again, yesterday we talked about, because of Hattiesburg's regional importance in healthcare, why it's important for us to kind of keep the number of folks in Forest and Lamar counties down who are going to the hospital. And finally, prioritizing public health while giving the private sector the space it needs to operate. 4 factors guide our reopening: the widespread availability of testing, the wearing of masks when we're at work or whether we go out to retail, watching our own local data, and then, of course, listening to all voices, business, and healthcare. Some people have asked kind of how has the C.E. Roy Community Center done in terms of what it's produced, and this marks 3 weeks that center has been open for free testing. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 4. Since then, 503 total tests have been conducted as of this morning. 396 of those have come back. 20 of those 396 have come back positive, so it's a 5% rate right now in terms of the total tests that have come back positive. What we're also seeing is that most people who come in for testing come in between the hours of 8 to 1. There are rarely anyone who comes between 2 and 4, and so we're going to continue this testing site next week, but to try and make the most efficient use of resources, as well as personnel from Forest General Hattiesburg Clinic. Those new hours at C.E. Roy will be 8 to 2. Again, almost all the tests happen before 1 p.m., but we are going to leave that open an extra hour. So 8 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that testing site will continue next week and beyond. Speaking of testing, there is a drive-through testing opportunity tomorrow in Lumberton at the Ben Barrett Community Center at 764 East Main Avenue. From noon to 4, you can go through and get free testing for drive-through. And you do need to answer some screening questions using the C Spire Health app. If you do not have a smartphone, you can call 601-496-7200. That's 601-496-7200. They will ask you the screening questions, and they will give you an appointment to come for free drive-through testing in Lumberton. So if you live in South Lamar County, northern Pearl River County, or in Lumberton itself, please take advantage of this opportunity. And finally, several pieces of city news. Of course, we have some, it's hurricane season. We have a tropical system moving into our area. This tropical depression is scheduled to make landfall in Louisiana at 1 a.m. Monday, which puts us on the east side of this thing, which means that we could get a lot of rain. That's the biggest threat right now. Of course, we know that these systems can change any moment, change direction, so please be weather aware. Follow the Forest County Emergency Management Facebook page, follow the city's Facebook page, follow any of the WDAM weather alert pages. They do a great job of keeping us updated as well. We also, getting ready for that, there are sandbags available at Fire Station number 1 at the corner of North Main and Jackson. So if you need sandbags, we know a lot of areas in Hattiesburg are in low-lying areas, and when there's flash flooding, some areas take on more water than others. So please take advantage of free sandbags at Fire Station number 1 anytime this weekend in preparation for the tropical system coming into our area. Also, we have a critical shortage in blood supply right now at Forest General. So Forest General and Vitalant are teaming up with the city of Hattiesburg to do a blood drive today and tomorrow. Tomorrow they will be there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if you go give blood at the Jackie Dole Community Center on West Front Street between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Saturday, you will also be allowed to get a free test for COVID antibodies while you're donating blood, and you'll get those results back in a couple of weeks. So if you want a free antibody test and you want to potentially save a life, please come down to Jackie Dole Community Center from 7 to 7 on Saturday and donate blood. And finally, in city news, as of today, the Hattiesburg Zoo has opened. It's opened at 50% capacity, and there's a lot of sanitization stations. There'll be 2 windows of time that you can enter from 10 a.m. to 12 and 12 to 3. You do need to kind of book those things in advance, so if you'll check out the Hattiesburg Zoo Facebook page, they will give you all the details you need. We are thrilled that this place has opened back up. We know that for a lot of families and for the entire metro area, this is something that sets Hattiesburg apart. And finally, our act of courage. Tonight would start the official Festival South season if this was a normal year. Of course, COVID-19 has changed a lot of things. So this 11th Festival South season will not be like any of the first 10. This is going to be a strictly online Festival South, but they're going to still nonetheless bring you some of the best artistic talent anywhere around. Mondays at noon, and Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. you can go to their Facebook page, and they'll be broadcasting live artistic events of every artistic genre. But Monday at noon, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Go to the Festival South Facebook page and enjoy some of the best talent around. And we appreciate Festival South and Michael Pinto and his team for bringing beauty in a very uncertain time. And finally, as we go into the weekend, remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself mentally and physically. Please wear a mask if you go out in public. Do only what is essential. Remember, you're safer at home. As we go into the weekend, remember, be kind to one another, be understanding, and most importantly, courage.